the media really set beauty standards, in my opinion. Like from time, the media has always set beauty standards, and when you look at the way it portrayed black women in the media, it was not favorable at all. Because there was a really a time, like I even spoke. I was speaking to my sister's friends, and even Brian and I, we have another friend who spoke to this also back in the day. But like simply the sentence of saying, "Oh, you're beautiful for a black girl," that sentence was really normal when I was growing up. It was right before you came to Canada, so I don't know if you like noticed how that sentence was normal, but that sentence was normalized. And even my friend that I was talking to yesterday, she's like, at the end of the day, I took it as a compliment because I felt like, well, that's what I'm gonna get. Like I'm second class to white girls or Latinos or etc. I'm second class, so I kind of accepted it as a compliment. It's like that sentence would actually gas me up, and I didn't. And it was crazy to think about it because at that point in her mind as a young black girl, she was like, "Yo, this is the best I'm gonna get. This is the best I'm gonna get." And even looking at the media, looking at Disney, who's been operating since 1923, like they hadn't had a black princess like while I was growing up. We didn't really have a black princess. They have like about 8 white princesses. They never really had a black princess till you come now to Princess and the Frog in 2009. That's like a year after. That's a year after Obama was elected president, which within itself was for me was very an inspirational moment. But we'll talk about that later when we finally do our Obama episode. That's been a long time in the making. But honestly, like the way the media portrayed black women, it really, even if there was black women on the screen, it was really like the lighter you are, the more beautiful you are, and the darker you get, it's like the less beautiful you are. And that image given by the media also festered within our community as ourselves. So at the same time, it's affecting black girls who are not seeing really themselves in the media being portrayed as beautiful women like as they are, and then us as men as well seeing it. Okay, so this is what beauty is. This standard, like the dominant society, which is white women or whatever. What we keep seeing in the media, it kind of reinforces that. And now I think we're seeing much more black women on the screen, just being portrayed in very various ways. Because obviously, there's not one type of black woman. There are different types of black women. But I think when you have something like Princess and the Frog that came out in 2009, that was the first black princess that was ever put on Disney. And even then, there was also mishaps with how Disney even put it on the screen because black girls were like, okay, finally, man, we get our first black princess, and she's like a frog for a good portion of the movie. And on top of that, that movie was kind of scary because they added a lot of voodoo because she was from New Orleans, so they were trying to add culture, but it made it also a very scary movie. And at the same time, her prince was he was white or Arab around there, so even that it was mishaps even with the first black princess.
I've never watched this, so it's weird how you're describing it.
But she was a frog for a good portion of the movie, which is hilarious. And my sisters kind of spoke to me about how even on BET is a black network, right? Mm-hmm. Even on BET, the women that were put on BET, a lot of them were light-skinned women. That was what was kept being shown, light-skinned women. And if a black woman was put, a darker-skinned woman was put, it was of a stereotype. So a certain stereotype of black women, only a certain stereotype of darker-skinned women were put on TV, right? And she spoke a bit also about Barbies, like Barbie dolls. Like the only time you really saw black Barbie dolls was when Christmas rolled around. Other than that, the 11 other months it was just the white Barbie, obviously, but black Barbie would roll around Christmas. And I think about how much, I don't even have to think about it, I know how much that affected black women growing up and black girls. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm happy my black, like when I get a daughter, I'm happy she doesn't have to grow up in the same world we grew up in, because that world was tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's really, it's just the issue of how to portray, especially women, on black women on TV, that has been a big issue in our communities. And I'm pretty sure we've addressed this on in previous episodes with Nadia,
with Marie
and it always comes up, and it's, for me, it's really, because, man, this is not like an area where like, that's not where I spend much of my attention, right? Like, looking, like, watching the Kardashians or whatnot. But it's just like, even peripherally, it's just quite, it amazes me how much influence these people, or the media, and has over those beauty standards. For example, how much the Kardashians have influenced what beauty standards are, and the ways that they portray themselves. And basically, it's weird how you can literally see, like, women in the street starting to resemble the Kardashians, in, like, when in fact, like, it wasn't as much. I don't know if it's a style thing. I don't know how, like, what exactly, it's, in what ways, but it's just like, it's just really, a shock to me how much, the media has an influence over these sort of things.
And, like, even for me, like I said, like, I'm happy my daughter's now growing up in a world we grew up in, because, like, now you have women like Viola Davis. For me, she's a top 5 actress in history. She's a top 5 actress, because for me, the way I judge, like, who's a great actress or actor, like, the way I judge it is your ability to act when you don't have a dialogue. So you don't have a dialogue, and it's really more like, so obviously you have your script, and then there it says, like, okay, you're doing this and that, and your ability to convey your emotions while you don't have a dialogue, for me, it really shows what type of actor, actress you are. And those, in How to Get Away with Murder with Viola Davis, she has a few scenes where she's not talking, she's just doing, like, just doing something, and she's not talking, and and the camera's just focused on her, and she's able to convey so much emotion without even talking. And there's like a few scenes where, like, she'll come home after, like, a tough day, like, after doing whatever, and she's a lawyer in How to Get Away with Murder, and she comes home, and she gets home, sits down in her room, taking off her eyelashes, wiping off her makeup, takes off her wig, her hair is all pinned up, and drinks, and she's just sitting there. And in that scene, I'm like, yo, this scene, like, most people won't see it as the way I see it, but that scene is so iconic because it's so natural. Like, that is just supernatural, just to be able to see her take off her wig, have her hair all pinned up. Like, those little things only happen when you have a black woman like that on the screen, especially as Viola Davis, who must also, I believe she has a lot of creative input into these shows. But to be able to show that, I think for black women, it's a huge thing. And when you have, even so, you have that on screen, and then off screen you have a filmmaker like Ava Duvernay. She did Selma. She did 13th, which is on Netflix. She also did When They See Us, which is about the boys in that whole Central Park 5 situation. And a woman like Ava Duvernay, she wasn't even trying to be a filmmaker. Like, she picked up her first camera at like 32. So she was just around a lot of sets because she worked in PR, so she knew kind of all that, but she wasn't even looking to do that, and she didn't even go to filming school. But she still was able to enter this space and do an amazing, like, she does an amazing job. Like, When They See Us is one of the toughest shows I've ever watched, but also one of the best shows I've ever watched. And Ava DuVernay has just done such a good job, and she's been working also on other stuff that's about to come out. But even that, I feel like it's so huge to have black women on screen and off screen in these roles where now they're portraying the story. Like, the way Ava DuVernay portrayed those boys wasn't in the same way that the media portrayed those boys. That's why she didn't call the show Central Park 5. She called it the show When They See Us, because she said it specifically. She's like, I don't want, because Central Park 5 is what the media gave them. That's what they gave them, and that's it. But she gave them the name When They See Us, as in when they finally see our story, when they finally hear what we have to say and what happened behind the scenes. And I think that's huge, and I'm happy like this renaissance is happening right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the same, man. I'm really happy, and it's great, and it's and just it's not just the thing that's happening here in North America, but it's also happening all across the globe. We're seeing much more inclusion of African movies on Netflix. Like we're immigrant, the children of immigrant in your case, and I'm actually a first generation immigrant. Our parents. You know how much Nollywood is influential in in our household. Nollywood is just like it's like the Nigerian Hollywood for people who don't know. So it's Nollywood, they have great movies, and I really enjoy like African movies and stuff, and our parents enjoy it. But like for us, it's for me, it's always been weird how people here don't know much about other cultures, like other the movies of other cultures. In Africa, man, it's like I came here, I was 14, so I spent a good amount of time in growing up in Africa, and man, we watch movies from all across the globe. We watch we watch movies from China, from Japan, and people love it, from the US, from France. We have, as because of because of the terrible history of colonialism in Africa, we've, I suppose we've had the opportunity of seeing other cultures from their own perspective, and being really close to other cultures because of that ugly history. But one of the legacy of that history has been that, I feel like the African culture, despite that I'm generalizing here, but in my experience, people are much more they're much easier to be outreaching to other cultures, than here, so yeah. So this renaissance that you talked about, I it's something that we should really welcome and encourage, because I like seeing good movies and well produced African and Nollywood, and just movies from and histories, and just the stories of people from all over the world, and part of this is part of also the solution to we, and I always talk about the rise of populism all across the globe, in Europe, in Brazil, and in the US, and and part of the solution of treating the other and treating other people as the other, and not dividing people in the us and them. Part of the solution is to get close to those people, to hear their stories, to see, to look at here, I suppose here in North America, the minority stories, and to see them as humans, and to hear their stories, and to see that how they live as people, and so the renaissance that we're seeing is just, it's something that I've just really been excited about.